Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. How is everybody doing tonight? What is hood? What is hood? Hello, OCOV Reverend Fat Boy. Darcy. What's up, mommy? Yada Dada, Detroit's finest lady is in the building. I am Queen Newton. Hello. Atmos is in the building. Atmos Love Zone. Hello. Blade. I love you, Blade. You already know. Puff, puff. Yes. Bev Davis. Hello. Take our Kelly. Diva time. Mommy, what's up, baby? Fuck your hips. Fuck your hips. What's up? Fuck your hips. OCOB is in the building. Wifey. Hello. Me too, OCOB. Black Girl Beauty. What's up, sisters? Hello, my sisters. Mom Life. Hello. Hello. Wings. No sound. No sound. Do you guys hear me? Microphone check 1 2. What is this? Oh man, can y'all hear me? Karen A, what's up, Karen A? What's up, Karen? Let's see who else is in here. Wait a minute, hold on, I went too fast. Espérate. Karen A, okay. West Coast Bells, hello. Hello, beautiful twin ladies over there. What's that?
They just one-shot me twice.
Karen Johnson. Hi, Mama. Granny. What's up, Granny? OCOB. Danny. Hi, Danny. Robert. Killer in the building. Tyro with OCOV always. Don't forget it. What's up, baby? Nettie Boo Boo, what's up, Nettie Boo Boo? Boo Boo, what's up? D. Michelle, ¿cómo estás, mamita? Hello, assalamu alaikum, mama. G. Darden, hello, welcome. Jacqueline Jones, my girl Jackie. ¿Y qué pasó? Que you changed your name again. Cardi K. Dildo deal come wet. Hold on, wait a minute. Who's this person here? Who is this? Hello, Chanty. Welcome, Chanty. Hello, Monica. Lady me, you. One. What's up, baby? I haven't seen you in a minute, mommy. How you doing? Dildo dear come before my daughter. OCOV. Okay. Oh, what these names, I tell you. Brandy, hello. Welcome, Brandy. Hello. Blackberry, hello. Friendly Dick. Okay, these names. Y'all killing me here. Y'all killing me with this shit. Yo. These names are just... No, it's okay, baby. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Please do me this big favor. Y'all already know. I'm not gonna, hound your asses all night long. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. But I am gonna ask you right now, if you can, to jump out the chat, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, please do so. And then hit that little bell that's next to it. You touch it. And then there's these options. Hit on the option that says all. And you can see everything that comes out from me. Okay? And it's free. It doesn't cost a goddamn thing to do it. It's easy. You just click. Okay? Click, y'all. Click. Okay? Thank you. And please share. Share. I should be getting a community wall soon. I don't know how this thing works. You know, I just got monetized, everybody. Thank you, by the way, for that, everyone. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for loving me. And I will continue to bring the best of me as I do. And we have a fund going on here, guys. We have a transcript fund, okay? And we would like for everyone to donate to help us get these transcripts and help us get us through this trial in the next few weeks, okay? Now, there's a few of us that are collecting donations, but we're all putting our money together and we're purchasing the transcripts. Now, on my side, everybody knows that I'm giving out the transcripts to those who donate. It's only fair, it's only right that you collect the memorabilia, right? So those that put in, please email me, okay? I will know who's putting in money on my side. If you put in money with someone else, I will verify with that person. So say, for instance, if you donated to Robert Keller, you know, you email me and say, hey, I donated to Robert Keller, XYZ this day. You know, I donated to Robert Keller. My name is Jacqueline Jones, and I'm on YouTube. Okay, Jackie, I got you. And I'll hit up Keller and be like, yo, Killer, what's good, Killer? Did my girl Jackie hit you off with some money? She did? Okay. I'm going to hit her off with the transcript. That's it. That's all. Okay? So for those who do donate, I don't care what side you're on. Do you hear me? I don't care if you're on the left. I don't care if you're on the right. As long as we get it together and we can fight. Okay? Okay. Now, warning. This video, this live that you are about to watch and listen contains disturbing content. Okay? And that it may not be appropriate for some viewers. You have been warned. You know, a lot of people have gone through certain acts of violence, and this content will speak upon a lot of abuse and violence. And it is triggering for certain people. So if you cannot take listening to things like this that will give you triggers, please, I recommend you don't. Okay? I recommend you don't. And if you're not over the age of 18, it's not appropriate for you either. Thank you. That's it. That's all. Okay, let's get that out the way, right? We got to put the disclaimer up, right? I'm getting it together, guys. I'm getting it together, y'all. Now, before we get into the transcripts, people, I want to kind of, where is, okay, let me see if I can do it. I want to kind of give you a little something. Oh, wait, hold on. Right there. I have to do it again. Okay. Okay. I want to do this one first. Okay. We're going to listen to a little bit about what happened today so far from BNC Go. Okay. And they're a news channel on YouTube. Thank you for your reporting, by the way. And we will listen to what happened. I'm going to go on mute. Guys, give me a thumbs up and let me know that you can hear the video, okay? Because I'm going to go on mute, but I'm going to watch the chat.
Welcome back to BNC, everyone. Another accuser took the stand in the trial against R&B singer R. Kelly. BNC's Astrid Martinez joins us now live from Brooklyn with more. Good afternoon, Astrid.
Good afternoon. On this 10th day of federal court, we are picking up testimony with a witness who took the stand yesterday afternoon using only her first name. Now, Faith testified that when she met R. Kelly, she was not a fan, but eventually she fell for the singer. She said shortly after she flew out to see him and they started a physical relationship where she said she ended up contracted a sexually transmitted disease from the singer. Now, earlier in the trial, the jury heard Kelly's personal physician describe treating him for a sexually transmitted disease for several years. Faith said she was 19 years old when her older sister invited her to a Kelly concert in San Antonio in 2017. The sisters were invited to a backstage after party. Faith said this was the beginning of her and Kelly's nearly 2-year relationship. Faith traveled several times from San Antonio to various cities across the country to visit Kelly over the course of their relationship. She testified all of the trips were booked by one of Kelly's female assistants. Her name is Diana Copeland. Now, during these trips, Kelly always demanded sex. She said he always refused to wear a condom and that Kelly recorded all of their sexual acts on his iPad without her permission. Faith described protocol she had to follow to make sure that R. Kelly never got upset, like knowing her whereabouts at all times, pictures of the clothing she wore out in public. She was also not allowed to hang out with any other men. Now, Faith testified the singer instructed her to behave like a puppy, like his daughter, or like his mother, which meant always be excited to see him, or he would leave her locked in a room for hours. Faith recalled an instance in one of R. Kelly's music studios where he was sitting in the corner of the room with a gun by his side. He asked her to undress and demanded she start posing. In another occasion, Faith also recalls Kelly playing a video on his iPad of him with other young girls. She said she could hear Kelly calling out their names in the recording. Some of the names which she said she recognized and names of girls she previously met. Kelly told her that these girls were girls he was raising and revealed that they were all sleeping with each other. Now, outside of the courtroom, we actually ran into Faith's father. He spoke to us about how his daughter is feeling the trauma she has to go through, reliving the moment she shared with Kelly on the witness stand. I want you to take a listen.
There are times when you hear testimony and as a dad, concerning another man taking advantage of your daughter, you feel a funny kind of way, anger and upset at the defendant,
And Charles, I know one time during the testimony, the prosecution was talking about that R. Kelly sat and talked to your daughter and said, me and your father we share something. That part, how did that come across to you? He was saying that you guys shared something in common.
Yeah, I understood what he meant from a spiritual point of view, being a pastor. There are certain gifts that God gives us to have discernment and to be able to see into things and things be revealed in the spirit. So he was kind of using that in a manipulative way to say that he had that same ability that was God-given, which wasn't the case. So that really disturbed me. In reality, I do try to put myself in that man's position, knowing that there's people that love him and that he have parents. Well, his mother's deceased, but I'm sure he has family. And so I try to look at it from their side too, and if he was my child, what would I want? So
What would you want?
Well, if he was my child, I would want mercy. I would want forgiveness, but that would depend upon him acknowledging that he's actually done something. Faith is not healed. Um, I don't know that Faith will ever be healed, because this is going to be attachment with her for the rest of her life. Just the celebrity of this man, she will always be attached some kind of way. But I just hope that my daughter will be able to make adjustments and learn to live with whatever attachment she has to live with and go on with her life. But emotionally, there's some work to be done with Faith. She has her ups and downs.
And Kelly has denied all federal charges. He also denies all allegations of misconduct. In Brooklyn, I'm Astrid Martinez for BNC.
Astrid, how is R. Kelly reacting to all of this? What was his demeanor like as he listened to today's testimony?
You know, earlier on in the testimony, Laverne, last week, we heard he was really expressionless, just very still. And the only time you would see him move is when he would talk to his attorneys through his mask. Now, I can tell you Monday when I was sitting in the courtroom during the male accuser's testimony, Lewis is the name he's going by, is the first time that we really saw R. Kelly lean over the desk and kind of grab his mask with both hands. He was also, you know, wiping his brow and really just cradled his cheeks with his hands. Today, also, the prosecution played a video. A media was only allowed to listen to the audio, and it was of R. Kelly allegedly playing music for Faith in one of his studios. And you can see in the courtroom, while this music was playing, R. Kelly was he was playing the piano, the keys in the air as if he was, you know, literally playing the piano. And that was just a really bizarre moment, because here we are in his case talking about racketeering and trafficking, and he is listening to his own music, picks up his hands and starts playing an air piano.
Strange indeed. All right, Astrid, thank you so much for that report.
Strange indeed. Strange indeed. He was nervous when Richard Arline was on the stand. He was shaking his head. He was moving his mask. He didn't know what to do. He was under pressure. Under pressure. Under pressure. He was going, y'all killing me with this shit, man. Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years. Y'all killing me with this. No. Stop. No more. No more, please. No more. Everybody hates my guts. Why they hate my guts? Why, Mammy? Why? Why, Mammy? Why? Why they hate my guts? Well, you know, this man just took advantage. If he didn't take advantage, you know, he'd be all right. I think he'd be all right. If he would have learned his lesson the first time, I think he'd be all right. But he didn't. So yeah. I had something else. Hold on, guys. I got one more thing I wanted to show y'all.
Got him by the ball again.
Hold on.
Oh, this nigga's hanging right on the fucking fence.
Got one more thing. And let me know if you guys can hear it in the chat, okay? I'm about to play. I'm going to go on mute. Oh, shoot. Wait. Okay. Yeah.
And so besides bolstering the testimony from Kelly's accusers about his abuse and controlling behavior, what's the prosecution's strategy in bringing forth this sort of testimony concerning his behavior towards his employees?
Well, that's exactly to show you that these weren't just regular employees. They weren't just an assistant that helped him with his business. Whenever they didn't follow the Rob's rules, and trust me when I tell you that these aren't regular rules for a job, but the Rob rules were geared to cultivate and deliver illegal acts and inappropriate behavior, assaultive behavior, statutory rape, supporting those instances that were happening. That's why the prosecution wants to clarify and articulate that these were Rob rules, and everything that goes under the umbrella of Rob rules that you didn't follow is the stuff that prosecution wants to show that R. Kelly orchestrated, that he ordered, that he demanded, and he followed up when those demands weren't met to make sure that you did not receive your pay, that you knew and understood that he was angry at you, and thirdly, that you were afraid and in fear of what would happen by not following what he wanted to have done. That's really important, and I thought this was a good witness for the prosecution to put on as they start talking about the assistants and the people that helped R. Kelly or supported what R. Kelly was doing, that clearly saw that things were inappropriate, that clearly saw that these were individuals that were too young to be engaging in the behaviors that they were engaging in, and that R. Kelly was being as controlling and assaultive as he was, as we heard from the testimony from today. It all is woven together and is part of the foundation. We're still not there yet where prosecution can put a bow on the evidence that they're putting in, but it's clear to me where this foundation is going, and I'm looking forward to the testimony from the other folks that were employed by R. Kelly that participated as well, and I expect that their testimony will corroborate not just the victim's experience, but things that they saw and observed from victims that we're not even going to hear from in this trial.
Learns the lyrics to I Believe I Can Fly and a flute plays somewhere in R. Kelly's our opinions of him stay on the upbeat. The children's choir learns the lyrics to I Believe I Can Fly and a flute plays somewhere in R. Kelly's home. R. Kelly calls himself the Pied Piper of R&B, and we make the excuse before we make the connection. After the first allegation, we thought it takes at least 2 notes to strike a chord. After the second allegation, we gave him 3 Grammys. After the third and fourth allegations, we ignored them simply because we just really like the songs. And all we can think about is the next family reunion. And who better to sing for our electric slide? And how else will we step in the name of love? See, a rap sheet these days isn't worth the price of the playlist at the cookout. In the German folktale, the piper lures the children away while all the adults are distracted in church, most likely singing. R. Kelly tells us he is devoting his life to the Lord, and an angel drowns out the video footage. R. Kelly hands us a hit, we give him back forgiveness. He hands us a 19-minute song, and the melody makes us forget the definition of a predator, makes us forget all the little girls of color that he wrote those songs for in the first place. And again, no one speaks up when black girls are abused. Like the better the song, the more invisible black girls become. But this time, we know exactly where the cult is in the city of Atlanta, and still the town prefers the Piper's music, almost as if entertainment is more important than the allegations, almost as if all their voices together isn't the right type of choir. And again, rape and misogyny is just another part of the culture tightly woven into harmony. And again, we learn that music is the best distraction and the worst black magic. We have taught our girls that they are everything short of a symphony. Tell me, is the music really that special? When one man's voice can sing over them all, when we can hold a note but can't hold a man accountable, when the piper is realer than any folk tale we know, and we surrender their bodies to pay the price. Our opinions of him stay on the upbeat. The children's choir learns the lyrics to I Believe I Can Fly and a flute plays somewhere in R. Kelly's home. R. Kelly calls himself the Pied Piper of R&B, and we make the excuse before we make the connection. After the first allegation, we thought it takes at least 2 notes to strike a chord. After the second allegation, we gave him 3 Grammys. After the third and fourth allegations, we ignored them simply because we just really like the songs. And all we can think about is the next family reunion. And who better to sing for our electric slide? And how else will we step in the name of love? See, a rap sheet these days isn't worth the price of the playlist at the cookout. In the German folktale, the piper lures the children away while all the adults are distracted in church, most likely singing. R. Kelly tells us he is devoting his life to the Lord, and an angel drowns out the video footage. R. Kelly hands us a hit, we give him back forgiveness. He hands us a 19-minute song, and the melody makes us forget the definition of a predator, makes us forget all the little girls of color that he wrote those songs for in the first place. And again, no one speaks up when black girls are abused. Like the better the song, the more invisible Black girls become, but this time we know exactly where the cult is in the city of Atlanta, and still the town prefers the Piper's music, almost as if entertainment is more important than the allegations, almost as if all their voices together isn't the right type of choir. And again, rape and misogyny is just another part of the culture tightly woven into harmony. And again, we learn that music is the best distraction and the worst Black magic. We have taught our girls that they are everything short of a symphony. Tell me. Is the music really that special? When one man's voice can sing over them all, when we can hold a note but can't hold a man accountable, when the piper is realer than any folk tale we know, and we surrender their bodies to pay the price.
I don't know who that is, guys. It's something I found on Twitter. This was something that was from the
Our opinions of him stay on the upbeat.
It's something from Feminist Witch. She is a Twitter person, and she has a podcast. So I guess it's from Trans Rights Regional Advisor. Okay. That's where I found that from, guys. Now look at this idiot here. What an idiot. This idiot, Yunjae Junji. Idiot. He says, now the lady from, let me see if I can see the thread. Let's see. Okay. This is the thread, guys. And it's from someone who was reporting, Pilar Melendez. She's a national reporter at the Daily Beast. And she's reporting about R. Kelly's trial, right? Now, she said, morning from day 9 of the R. Kelly trial. Suzette Mayweather, a former R. Kelly assistant, is continuing her testimony today. Mayweather seems to be corroborating testimony from Jane, we know who that is, who said she met Kelly in 2015 when she was 17. So far, 17 witnesses have testified in this case. And then this guy comments, the age of consent by state. Right? The age of consent laws were historically only applied when a female was younger than her male partner. As of August 1st, 2018, the age of consent in each state in the U.S. was either 16 years of age, 17 years of age, or 18 years of age. The lowest state age of consent to the United States is 16. In most U.S. states, the age of consent has been arbitrarily designated by statute. Okay? Now he's trying to say that it's okay because Azriel was 17, so I don't know where he was trying to he was just dumb. And I said Kelly met her in Florida and had his first sexual contact with Az there in a hotel room in Florida. And age of consent is 18. So yeah, he violated state law. Police never did anything because they were starstruck. Okay. Okay. All right. You know, some people just say the dumbest shit ever. The dumbest things ever. Wow. Look at our Smelly. He's definitely gaining weight, that's for sure. He's stressed out, eating all them Twinkies and stuff. Well, enough of that, guys. And please, if you would like to donate towards the transcript fund, the information is on the screen, guys. Can you see that? Okay. Thank you. Your donations are highly appreciated. Like I said, we will send the transcripts out. Matter of fact, let me put my email information in here so you guys can email me and let me know that you donated towards the transcript fund, okay? And your YouTube name and who you donated to, and I will send you a copy as your memorabilia, guys, okay? Here's my email. All right, I'm going to pin my email up. All right, so we pinned that up, guys. That's there. Now, yes, guys, please make sure that you hit that like button. I'm going to say it one more time, and then I'm going to say it towards the end. We're going to get to reading these transcripts now. Please don't forget. All right. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the likes. Thank you. Keep them coming, y'all. Keep them coming. All right. And when you guys, if you cash at me, please make sure, or any one of us, that in the text part, you put 4 transcripts. Okay? Because I don't want to get confused with the fund money and the money that you guys give to my channel, to me. Okay? So if it's for me, say this is for you. And if it's for the transcripts, say this is for the transcripts. All right? Thank you, guys. Now let me share my screen again. Okay. All right, guys. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. We are starting at 12:34. That's where it starts at. Okay. And this is day 6. This is day 6. And I believe in day 6, it was all Azriel, Jane Doe number 5, as we know her. And we know that is the United States of America against Robert Kelly. The date is August 25th. August 25th, 2021. And it's at 9:30 a.m. And this is the transcript of trial before Honorable Judge Ann Donnelly and jury. We have the appearances by Jacqueline. We have Elizabeth Geddes, Nadia Shihata, and Maria Melendez, Cruz Melendez. Sorry. Then for the defendant, we have Deborah O'Canick, Nicole Becker, Thomas Farinella, and Calvin Scholar. And like I said, the mention above was for the government, which is Elizabeth, Nadia, and Maria. Miss Melendez, Miss Geddes, and Miss Shihata. And court reporter Shirley Ann. That's our girl. All right. Now, it continues from day 5. It says that in open court outside the presence of the jury, and the court says, as we all know her to be, Auntie Anne, the judge, she says, let me first just ask the parties. You come to some agreement about the lady in Florida with the aged mother about doing that video? Ms. Getty said, we did not. The judge said, did you discuss it? Ms. Getty said, we did. The judge said, all right, Mr. Farinella, is this your issue? Mr. Farinella says, yes, Your Honor. The judge says, you can take your mask off if you want to. Stay seated. You can do that too. What's your objection to having this witness testify by video? Mr. Farinella says, we would like to have Ms. Jones present in court, Your Honor. The judge said, I know you would like to, but what's the basis of your objection? Mr. Farinella says, well, there seems to be some apprehension by Ms. Jones. The judge said, who's Ms. Jones? Ms. Getty says, the prosecutor, says, so there's 2 witnesses who can testify in this regard. There's Kim Jones, who's in Chicago. And then the judge said, okay. Ms. Getty said, and there's also Susan Loggins in a different location. And she's the woman who I think you referenced with the elderly mother. The judge said, so you don't need both of them? Ms. Getty said, I think I can do with just one of them. The judge said, and what's the objection to Chicago witness coming? Ms. Getty said, she has advised that she's not. The judge said, she's not coming? All right. Is there a reason why? Do I have to sign a material witness warrant? Ms. Getty said, I'm prepared to present to you a material witness warrant if the defense will not stipulate to her appearing by video. The judge said, but what's the theory you're objecting to it and why? Mr. Farinella said, Your Honor. The judge said, just speak into the microphone if you could. Mr. Farinella said, so the judge said, do you have a constitutional objection to it, or is it just you'd rather have her here in person? I mean, is there any... Mr. Farinella said, there's a constitutional objection. Your Honor, I believe she will be the witness. She's one of the witnesses in the chain of custody with regard to the DNA sample that was presented. The judge says, Auntie ain't having it. She said, hold up, wait a minute. She said, okay, but I mean, there's no reason why you can't do this by video. You're still able to question her. she's not, she's not in person in the court, but she's testifying and is subject to confrontation. And the only difference is she'll be on a screen as opposed to, flying in here and sitting on the stand. So I just don't understand the nature of your objection. That's all. Unless you're just, well, why? Why can't you agree to this? Also, I have to say, the chain of custody issue is really more weight than admissibility. The witness testimony is this is her shirt and this is what she did with it. It's marginally relevant what happened to it afterwards, because it's not like it's a fungible item like money, something that you can confuse with something else. It's relevant to what happened afterward. If you have a theory that whatever forensic evidence is on there got there some other way, which I can't even begin to imagine what that would be, but you can surely, Ms. Becker, just let me finish. I'll give you the chance to consult, but I think it's hard to listen to two people at once. Ms. Becker said, sorry, Judge. Judge says, Auntie ain't playing that. She's not having it with none of them. Auntie Ann said, first of all, you'll be able to cross-examine her. You'll also be able to cross-examine the forensic expert about the extent to which the chain of custody affects either the existence or whose DNA it is. I presume that's what the witness is going to testify. So, the traditional reasons for chain of custody, like narcotics or something like that, really are different here. I'm not saying that you're not entitled to explore the chain of custody, but I think it's worth thinking about. What you are going to argue from that, okay? So you can certainly challenge the witness, which I think you did about the t-shirt. But the critical part about the t-shirt is really the witness who's testifying about the t-shirt, where she got it, what she did with it, and then she hands it over to somebody. So then what we're really talking about is just a chain that doesn't seem to me, it's been a while since I've thought about this, but I'm not sure. But I'm not sure that there's going to be anybody who's going to testify that having it be in some other place is going to create DNA or affect whatever the forensic evidence is. So I'm just, I guess if we can get this person and she's not unavailable. Ms. Getty said, she's not unavailable. The judge said, so, and it's certainly been done in other cases, certainly during COVID times. I know Judge Rakoff did it. I know Judge Prescott did it in the Donzer case, and it doesn't deprive you of your right to confrontation. So that's why I just don't understand why you won't agree to it. You don't have to. It just seems kind of silly to me. Mr. Farinella says, Your Honor, I appreciate the court's, weighing in on this, and I will certainly, if I just may, contemplate this for a moment. The judge said, sure, and talk to your colleagues about it. Maybe I'm missing something. We're going to be here for a while. And why we can't just move things along, I think you also want to think about the jurors' time, too. I think if there are ways that we can make things more efficient without detriment to Mr. Kelly's rights, which, in my view, this wouldn't be. That's really all to the good. So, why don't you think about it? Anything else before we bring the witness in and bring the jury in? Mr. Farinella said, thank you, Your Honor. By the way, the judge said, sure. Ms. Getty said, I would ask, Your Honor, reconsider your ruling earlier and admit Government Exhibit 241. It remains our position that it has been sufficiently authenticated and any challenges go to weight and not admissibility, and that perhaps that may affect whether we're able to reach an agreement here, because I don't believe that I think the evidence should be admissible regardless of whatever this particular witness testifies. The judge says, well, I mean, what is your position on that, Mr. Farinella? I really think that's true. I think the question is, the critical issue is what the witness said about the particular item of evidence. And, you challenged her credibility. So anything that comes afterwards really does go to weight, not admissibility. Mr. Farinella says, and I don't understand that, Your Honor. And the judge said, okay. Mr. Farinella said, I understand that. And Auntie said, all right, good. Then it is in evidence. And maybe that will affect how you work this next part out, okay? Because there may be additional things you want to ask that witness anyway, okay? Mr. Farinella said, correct. The judge said, great. She said, Exhibit 241 so marked. Let's bring the witness in and then we'll get the jury. The witness, Jane, previously sworn, resumes the stand. The jury enters. The judge says, good morning, everybody. The jury says, good morning. The judge says, I hope you had a good night. We are ready to continue with the cross-examination of the witness by Mr. Canick. The clerk says, the witness is reminded she's still under oath. And then the witness says, yes, ma'am. And now we're going to have cross-examination continued by Mr. Canick. Now he says, good morning. Azriel says, good morning. He says, now, after we recessed last night and until this morning, have you had an opportunity to speak with any members from the government? She said, no, I have not. Mr. Canick said, okay, now, you and your father were shopping a book deal concerning your allegations here. Am I correct? She said, correct.
I love how niggas gonna fucking die.
Mr. Canick said, and the person that you were working with was Stacy Brown. She said, I don't believe I met before with Stacy Brown. Mr. Canick said, you don't believe you met with Stacy Brown before? She said, no, I never met with him. Mr. Canick said, You know who Stacy Brown is, right? She said, yes, I do. Mr. Canick said, your father met with him. She said, I don't know. Mr. Canick said, you had an agent. She said, I did, yes. And Mr. Canick said, what's your agent's name? She said, I actually don't remember her name, but she is a young woman from LA. The judge said, just make sure you keep your voice up, okay? Mr. Canick says, you know the name Charlene? She said, yes, sir. Mr. Canick says, and she was your agent, am I correct? She says, yes, sir. Mr. Canick said, when was it that you started shopping this book with Stacy Brown? Azrael said, I don't remember. Mr. Canick said, was it in 2019? She said, I don't remember. Mr. Canick said, Your Honor, I'm just going to show her something electronically to see if it will refresh her recollection. The judge said, of course. Mr. Canick said, I'm going to show you this, and you can look at the top to the bottom and see if it refreshes your recollection as to when it was that you were trying to shop this book deal. She said, okay. Mr. Canick says, does it refresh your recollection? She said, it does, yes. Mr. Canick said, it was sometime before February 5th, 2020. Am I correct? She said, the date on that says February 5th, 2020. And Mr. Canick said, right. Well, on this, by the time you had received this, he was sending you back a draft manuscript. Am I correct? She said, I don't recall.
Right outside.
He said, look at this document.
Left side. They sitting there waiting. One's in the bush and the other one's
Having looked at that, does it refresh your recollection that by February 5th, 2020, you had already started receiving draft manuscript proposals? She said, yes. Mr. Canick said, now, yesterday, we spoke about your mother asking you to take photos of Robert and yourself where she could possibly exploit him on a future date. Do you remember us talking about that? She said, yes, I do. He said, now, there came a point in time that you stopped taking the pictures and doing things to possibly exploit Robert because you felt as though you were being betrayed. You were betraying his trust, correct? She said, yes. He said, now, yesterday we offered Defense Exhibit S into evidence. I want you to read them to the jury. And can you read them aloud and slowly?
Right here on the first floor.
And she said, yes, all of them?
That nigga was hiding in a fucking corner.
He said, yes. She says,
I ain't get a kill yet.
Pops, you didn't tell mommy that you used to FaceTime and call Rob. Mr. Canick said, let me stop you there. When you said Pops, who are you referring to? Azriel said, my father. Mr. Canick said, go ahead, please. She said, Pops, you tell mommy that you used to FaceTime and call Rob and have hour-long conversations, happy and jolly and never upset. You didn't even tell mommy all the things you had me trying to do to blackmail Robert. It's a shame because both of you were very happy, but y'all started listening to the blank and joined them. Mr. Canick said, let's stop there. Who are the blank you're referring to? Azriel said, Joy's parents. Okay, so that word must have been savages. Y'all started listening to the savages and joined them. And then he said, let's stop there. And then he said to her, who are the savages you're referring to? And then she answered, Joy's parents. Mr. Canick says, Joy, one of Robert's living girlfriends. She said, yes. He said, okay. She said, they found other exes and out of curiosity told them what to do and what to say. There's an arrow pointing up, but I really can't make out what it's saying. You are literally taking illegal actions when you know you've done wrong as parents. Now remember, this is what she's reading the letter.
I fucking hate that shit.
You are literally taking illegal actions when you know you've done wrong as parents. What really makes me angry is that all of you could still be in my life, but your actions and choices show that's not what you care about. All I have to say is this, and all I have to say is this. If and when you want to be in my life, you will be. And if you don't want, and if you don't, you won't. But no matter what you do, I will forever be deeply in love with Robert. I will forever spend my life with him and continue to create beautiful moments and memories. I'm not going to sacrifice or ruin my happiness just to appease you guys. Y'all have depressed yourselves, stressed yourselves out, aged yourselves, and made yourselves so miserable chasing a idea that you have covered up will never come to life. You think I'm happy that y'all aren't in my life?
Drop it right there. Drop that shit.
No. But I would not allow y'all to think you can talk to me whenever you want while doing interviews bashing Robert.
That's in the bottom. I'm gonna come up.
I love this man.
Right there, right there. Watch underneath.
And Ma, I pray you would never let another person bash Pops without standing up for him, and vice versa, because this is true, genuine love. The next letter says, I am devastated. I am hurt and devastated. I cannot see my family because of you guys. You guys have put me in this position, and then you're angry when I don't reach out. The next letter, Ma and Pops. Not only am I devastated, but I'm crushed from everything that you two have done and how you decided to go about this. None of this should be happening, and you all could have put a stop to this, but you know you decided to join in to get some money. If you are working with him and making money in any kind of way, you will be okay with me being with Robert. And that's the sad part, that you need money to be happy for me. Both of you knew where the studio was. And for nearly 5 years, I can count how many times you've tried to see me in one hand. None of you did interviews for free. Both of you took money, and you don't need money to be caring parents. And if someone paid you right now to do an interview, you'd do it. All that you've done and all that you're still doing, where has it got you? Definitely not closer to me, nor have I wanted to see you guys because of it, and I still don't want to. I'm still living my life happy with Robert, while you two are making yourselves more miserable every day. You don't even have to. Ma, when I was 17, you were telling me to take as many pictures and videos with this man so you could blackmail him and use it against him in the future. Exactly what you are trying to do now. You knew his past, and you tried to use it against him by making me the bait. You continue to try and push me onto this man. You really made me feel like a hoe and a prostitute by saying those words to me, and I went along because I was trying to please you, but you don't know how terrible you've made me feel as a mother. You've dropped me off at 3 a.m. and didn't care if I was with you or not. You wanted me to be alone with him, and you know that. You have texted very threatening things saying, since you're fucking my daughter, you need to send $10,000 to this bank account every month. You've threatened me and him personally. You said we need to send you a food check. And by this, which is not how you act or things you say as a mother or parent. I don't know if you know, but I'm sure you do by now. But I came to Florida to blank. Mr. Canick said, who's blank? And Azriel said, blank is my brother. Okay, so she said Armani. So she said, I came to Florida to Armani. And then she said, he said, who's Armani? And she said, Armani is my brother. Then he said, go ahead. She said, continuing to read the letter, and confide in him. And I was totally heartbroken. All of the things you have said and told him that isn't even true. The reason I don't and can't see y'all blank or even blank, Ms. Getty said, one moment, Mr. Canick said, Your Honor, may we approach the witness and let the witness, the judge said, I beg your pardon. Mr. Canick said, may we approach the witness, the government and I? The judge said, sure. And there was a pause. I'm going to pause too and take a sip of drink. Mr. Canick said, thank you. Mr. Canick then continues and says, can you continue, please? Azriel says, because of y'all and everything y'all have caused, you guys didn't tell my brother that y'all were texting Rob, that I'm grown. I can do what I want and make my own choices. The next letter says, I've thought about what you said, and I do want to fix us. I just do not want to delete my entire email. So hopefully we can figure out another way to build trust. The more I think of it, the more I realize I have to delete. It's not that I have anything to hide, because I don't. So if you do not feel comfortable with that, then we need to figure something out. Sorry, I'm sorry. So I'm sorry if I'm not the woman you want to marry or do anything with, because I'm choosing to disagree. But I am not angry. I am okay with my choice. We just need to talk about what this means and where we stand because of this. Mr. Canick says, now, that's a letter you wrote to Robert.
Somebody right here.
She said, yes. He said, read the next one. She said, the next one says, I really just need a moment to gather myself. I came back because I wanted to fix this, but now we are stuck again. Mr. Canick said, let me stop you there. That's a letter to Robert as well. She said, yes. He said, and when you said I came back, what are you talking about? She said, the defendant convinced me to come back.
There's another one right here. Some more.
Mr. Canick said, you were away? Am I correct? You were away from
I'm
Robert?
fucking shooting niggas and I'm not getting no
She
kills.
said, for less than 24 hours. He said, no, that's not my question. My question is,
Fucking two different niggas I shot. Yeah,
were you away from him? She said, yes, I was. Mr. Canick said, and you were away from him and you went where? She said, back to the defendant? And then he said, no, you were in Florida. Were you not? She said, these two letters could be different times. Mr. Canick said, no, my question is, when you left Robert for 24 hours, as you said, and you said he convinced you to come back, you went to Florida, is that correct? She said, I left the defendant multiple times. Mr. Canick said, that's not my question.
I'm doing the shooting.
My question is, when you left him, the 24-hour period that you just spoke about, you were in Florida, right? She said, these two letters are not the same. The judge said, so why don't, and then she said,
my fucking point.
Time period. Azriel said, time period. The judge said, why don't you refer her if there's more than one time? Do you have a particular time in mind? The witness says, yes. The judge says,
Somebody else in there.
just let me
Somebody else
finish.
in there. That just died right
Do you have a particular time in mind that you want to direct the witness to? Mr. Koenig said, yes.
there. It's on my man and go pick up
He
the
said,
gun.
the letter that you just read, where you said that you could fix this, that you want to fix this. The judge said, are those dated, by the way? Mr. Koenig said, no. The judge said, okay. Azriel said, I don't know which argument this was after. Mr. Koenig said, but the bottom line is that there was an argument. You left Robert and went home. Am I correct? She said, only on one occasion, yes. Mr. Koenig said, I didn't ask you how many occasions. I asked you whether or not you left Robert and went home. She said, yes. Mr. Koenig said, and home was with your family, am I correct? She said, yes. He said, okay, go to the next letter. And she starts to read. I can tell this is going to be a while before anything gets resolved, and I just don't care anymore. I'm so done. I'm not happy, and I'm tired of running in circles, not being good enough, not noticing what you want from me. Every other day, something is going wrong, and I'm doing something wrong, and I'm tired of going through that. I don't want that kind of relationship. Mr. Koenig says, now, you were apart from Rob when you wrote that letter. She said, pardon me? He said, were you apart? Were you separated from Robert when you wrote that letter? She said, I was not. He said, okay, you were in the same household when you wrote that letter? She said, I was. Yes. He said, and you were expressing to him that you were tired of the relationship? Didn't want the relationship? Am I correct? She said, I did. Yes. Mr. Koenig said, and did you leave? She said, I don't recall. And then Mr. Koenig said, now I'm going to ask you to look at defense T for identification. May I have the other document? Do you recognize that document? She said, yes, I do. He said, what do you recognize that document to be? She said, a screenshot from my Snapchat account. Mr. Koenig said, okay, Your Honor, I'm going to offer defense T into evidence, but I will want to redact certain information from it. The judge said, okay, was this something we looked at yesterday? Mr. Koenig said, no, I don't think so. Mr. Getty says, I believe it is. Mr. Koenig said, it is. Okay. The judge said, any objection? Miss Getty said, no, Your Honor. The judge said, let's make sure we get that redacted. That's in evidence. Mr. Koenig said, thank you. I'll redact it before I ask her to read. Defense Exhibit T, so marked. There's a pause. I'm going to pause, guys. I'm going to step out. I'm going to use the ladies' room. I'll be right back.
Oh, control sensor. cousin, man. I fucking trust her too.
Okay, I'm back. Then Mr. Canick says, thank you. I'll redact it before I ask her to read. Defense Exhibit T so marked. Then he says, I ask you to read this, please. Azriel begins to read. Baby, I never been, Mr. Canick said. Could you read it louder and slower? She says, okay. She starts to read. Baby, I ain't never been held against my will. Wrong person. You need to stop reading the tabloids. Mr. Canick said, you sent that? You posted that? Am I correct? She said, I sent this to someone personally. Mr. Canick said, do you recall the date that you sent this? She said, yes, that was immediately after I had left the defendant in October. He said, thank you. Now, you testified and spoke to us yesterday about a situation when you were in Las Vegas. Do you remember telling us about that? She said, yes, I do. Mr. Canick said, and I think you testified and told us that you were staying at the Mandalay Bay. She said, yes, I was. And Mr. Canick said, and there came a point in time when you sent your mother a text saying that you were, everyone was having fun and you were in the room.
Yo,
do you remember that text?
Let's go. Give me some money.
She said, I do, yes. Mr. Canick said, now, Mandalay Bay had a 21 age requirement for the casino. Am I correct? She said, yes. Mr. Canick said, and basically, you were traveling with Robert at that time. Am I correct? She said, yes. Mr. Canick said, so he was the adult that was part of that and responsible for your well-being. Am I correct? She said, correct. Mr. Canick said, now, you testified and told us about a situation where you told Robert that you were 17 and he sent you back home. Am I correct? She said, yes, he did. Mr. Canick said, in fact, he sent you back home the very next morning. Am I correct? She said, yes, he did. Mr. Canick said, now, and you went back down to Florida and you spoke with your mother. Am I correct? She said, yes, I did. Mr. Canick said, and your father. Am I correct? She said, yes. Mr. Canick said, and you said that you executed a document giving someone else guardianship over you. Am I correct?
I got my load out.
She said, correct. Mr. Canick said, and as you sit here today, do you recall the name of the person that they gave guardianship to? She said, yes, I do. And Mr. Canick said, what's the person's name? Ms. Getty said, objection. Mr. Canick said, she gave someone guardianship, right? Azriel said, yes, she did. Mr. Canick said, and before giving guardianship to this person, they never had any conversation with this person. Am I correct? She said, no. He said, okay. They never FaceTimed this person. Am I correct? She said, no, they did not. Mr. Canick said, They never gave this person any details of their expectations of them with regard to you. Am I correct? She said, no. Mr. Koenig said, there was no interface whatsoever between your parents and this person that they gave guardianship to. Am I correct? She said, no. He said, I'm not correct. She said, no, to my knowledge, no, I don't know. Mr. Koenig said, now, you testified and told us that Robert had a rule. Robert, according to you, you've had to, when you travel with him on the tour bus, you had to knock on the door before you came out of the bathroom. Do you remember telling us that? She said, that is correct. Mr. Koenig said, and that was the tour bus. Am I correct? She said, yes, that is correct. Mr. Koenig said, and that bus, withdrawn. Were you the only person who had to knock on the door before coming out of the bathroom? She said, every girlfriend had to knock. And he said, well, everybody had to knock. Am I correct? The judge said, I'm sorry, did you say to go in or to come out of the bathroom? Mr. Koenig says, to come out. The judge said, I see. Okay. And then Azriel says, yes. He said, everyone had to knock because the rule was put in place because there's a microwave on the bus. Am I correct? She said, there's a microwave on the bus. Mr. Koenig said, there's a refrigerator on the bus, right? She said, yes. Mr. Koenig said, and people would walk around with hot food and the door would swing out. Am I correct? She said, yes. Mr. Koenig said, so that policy was for safety. Am I correct? She said, it was not for safety. Mr. Koenig said, it was not for safety. Now, you testified and told the jury yesterday that there was one of Robert's girlfriends, according to you, that he dragged by the hair. Do you remember telling us that? She said, yes. He said, who was that girlfriend? She said, Neek. Oh, so she witnessed that day that Neek lost all her hair and had to wind up cutting her hair short.
Right from the fucking buyout. There you go. You got him.
Mr. Koenig said, now, do you recall at dinners when withdrawn, when you were home with Robert and the girlfriends, you would often eat dinner together. Am I correct? She said, yes. Mr. Koenig said, and Robert would play the piano while the girlfriends ate. Am I correct? She said, not that I can recall. Mr. Koenig said, she said,
right here.
Azriel said,
here.
Are you saying every single time or one particular time? Mr. Koenig said, he would play the piano when you would have dinner, when you ate. She said, no, he would not. Mr. Koenig said, he never did that? She said, once. Mr. Koenig said, once he did that? She said, yes. He said, do you recall who was there that one time?
Watch the bottom. Watch that
She
tunnel.
said,
Watch that tunnel.
I recall the defendant playing the piano for just me and him. Mr. Koenig said, just you and him.
Yo, watch
She
that
said,
tunnel.
yes.
Watch the tunnel
He
behind
said,
you.
now,
Upstairs.
you've wanted to be his primary girlfriend. Am I correct? She said, I did not. And he said, you did not? You never told him that?
Oh, buy me back.
She
Buy me
said,
back.
the defendant put me on a pedestal. Then Mr. Koenig said, oh, so yesterday he didn't put you on a pedestal, but today he put you on a pedestal.
Look at that shit.
Ms. Getty said, objection. The judge said, overruled. Azriel said, I can't stop what someone else does. Mr. Koenig said, I had to catch myself. Now, you testified and told us yesterday, withdrawn. When you were living with Robert, he had you handle his checking accounts, checking books. Am I correct? She said he had an accountant.
Oh shit, it's almost past my country.
Mr. Cannon said, that's not my question. My question is, did you handle his checking books, his personal checking? She said, no. He said, did Robert give you $5,000 a month in your Chase account? She said, it wasn't. Can you rephrase that because I'm not understanding? Mr. Koenig said, did you receive $5,000 a month from Robert when you were living with him being deposited into your Chase account? She said, yes. He said, and Robert also took care of your Uber and Lyft account. Am I correct? She said, yes. Mr. Koenig said, and now, did you testify that the jury that Robert prevented you from going to work? She said, yes, he did. Mr. Koenig said, what job did you want to work? She said, I told him that I wanted to work any job. And then Mr. Koenig asked, what skills did you have? She said, I have never worked a job before. Mr. Koenig said, and you asked your brother to help you get a job, am I correct? She said, I don't recall that. Mr. Koenig said, isn't it a fact that you asked Blank to get you a job paying around $28 per month? $28 per month, that's got to be weak. She said, no, I don't remember. Mr. Koenig said, and isn't it a fact that Blank responded to you and told you? The court says, can I see the parties at the sidebar? We don't need the court reporter. Discussion off the record. Mr. Koenig, may I continue, Your Honor? The judge says, yes, go ahead. Mr. Koenig says, while we look for that, I'll move on to something else.
It looks like the prison's going to be the middle.
The judge said, okay. Mr. Koenig said, now, you testified and told the jury yesterday that Mr. Kelly did not celebrate holidays. Do you remember telling us that? The clerk says, the jurors can't hear you. Mr. Koenig said, do you remember telling us yesterday about Mr. Kelly not celebrating the holidays? She said, I believe I said they were delayed, but yes. Mr. Koenig said, well, do you recall a text exchange between you and one of your girlfriends? And the friend asked you, what did Mr. Kelly get you for Christmas? She said, I believe that is something I could have talked about. Yes. Mr. Koenig said, and do you remember telling your friend that you got a lot of clothes, shoes, heels, sneakers, the new Jordans that dropped on Christmas too, and a big ass new iPad Pro? She said, yes, I do. He said, those were Christmas gifts. Am I correct? She said, yes, they were. Mr. Koenig said, now I'm going to ask. I asked you yesterday about trips to the beach with Mr. Kelly. You remember me asking you that? She said, yes. He said, you said you didn't go. She said, no, we did go. He said, you did go. Mr. Koenig said, Your Honor, I'm going to ask this be marked as Defense Exhibit X for identification. The court said, sure. Mr. Koenig said, I'm showing you what's being marked as Defense Exhibit X for identification. Do you recognize it? She said, yes, I do. He said, what do you recognize it to be? She said, it is me and the defendant. Where? At a beach up north that I had found? He said, you found this beach? She said, yes, I did. He said, and you mentioned to him that you wanted to go. She said, after months, yes, I did. Mr. Koenig said, well, my question is, did you tell him that you found a beach and you wanted to go to the beach? She said, I did, yes. Mr. Koenig said, and he took you to the beach? She said, yes. Mr. Koenig said, Your Honor, may we publish to the jury? The judge said, sure. I'm going to ask that this be marked Defense W for identification. Do you recognize it? She said, yes, I do. He said, what do you recognize it to be? She said, me and the defendant. He said, in the picture? She said, yes. Mr. Koenig said, I'm going to offer it as Defense Exhibit W. Ms. Getty said, no objection. The judge said, all right, that's in evidence. Defense Exhibit W, so marked. Mr. Koenig, may we publish? The judge said, yes. Give me a little more water.
Yeah, right on time. Where is he? He's right behind us.
Mr. Koenig said, Your Honor, may we have a minute or two just to figure out something? The judge said, sure. There was a pause in the proceeding. Then Mr. Koenig says, I'm going to show you. And then the judge said, put on your microphone. Mr. Koenig said, what's been marked as Defense U for identification, and ask you to take a look at these pages and let me know if you recognize them. You don't need to read them. Just see if you recognize them. She said, yes, I do recognize this. He said, what do you recognize it to be? She said, this is my handwriting, if that's what you're asking me. He said, well, is it something you wrote? She said, yes. Mr. Koenig said, I'm going to offer it Defense U for identification into evidence. The judge said, any objections? Ms. Getty said, I just want to see what it is. No objection. Mr. Koenig said, I'll spare the reading this time. The judge said, okay. Defense Exhibit U was received in evidence. by Mr. Kanik, he continues to say, let me show you what's been marked as Defense Exhibit Y for identification. Do you recognize it? She said, yes, I do. He said, what do you recognize it to be? She said, my handwriting. He said, well, is it a letter that you wrote? She said, yes. Then he said, I offer this Defense Exhibit Y into evidence. No objection. Ms. Getty said, no objection. Sorry. The judge said, okay, it's in evidence. Defense Exhibit Y was received in evidence. Then Mr. Kanik says, I'm going to ask you to read again, loudly and slowly. I'll sit while she reads. The judge said, how long will it be? Mr. Kanik said, it depends how long it takes her to read it. The judge said, it's in evidence anyway. Can I just see counsel? I don't need the court reporter. 1 second. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Pick up my vest.
Sorry about that. That was my cat. She's trying to get us the door over here.
Next time, let your fucking ass die.
Then the court said, it's in evidence anyway. Can I just see counsel? I don't need the court reporter. 1 second. Discussion was had off the record. And then the judge says, all right, the lawyer wants you to read. To document. Read to document. Okay? All right? And this is going to be the last page, guys. I'm going to leave it on this page. 1264. I'm going to read this last page. So the next person will read 1265.
Hold on. This is not my God.
So then she says to document. Okay, all right? And then Azriel says, brother, the reason I haven't been texting or calling you is because of a few reasons. Number one is because I had to take my time and really think about everything Ma and Pops has done. Try and ruin happiness.
Just do it right there.
Number two, I came at that Florida to see you because I want to give us a chance as brother and sister to see if I could trust you and confide in you. Seeing as though I can't do that with Ma and Pops, on top of all that, I really had missed you. But none of that means anything if you are going to act like them and try to talk me out of being happy. Because that is exactly what I am with Robert. And no matter what, that you should be respected, even if someone doesn't like it. Sorry, and no matter what, that should be respected, even if someone doesn't like it. You have ideas what Ma and Pops tried to do to Robert in the beginning. They literally used me to lure him in so that they could blackmail him and do all the shit that they're doing right now. And the reason I know this is because I was getting ready. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to leave it on the cliffhanger. All right, guys. All right, yeah, let's see. All right, yeah, so right now, and the reason I know this is because I was getting ready. Mr. Kanik said, could you slow down a little? Ms. Getty said, objection. The judge said, why don't you let me manage that part? Okay, guys. That's it. That's all. All right. 1265 for Whitney DTV or at Miss Love Zone to continue with the story, guys. You can go to at Miss Love Zone. That's his YouTube channel. And you can also go to Whitney DTV. That is her channel. And we are sharing the reading of the transcript, guys. All right. So you guys are going to have to make sure you follow us every time. All right. So what were you guys saying in here? We're going to stop. We're going to leave it on 1265, guys. Put that in the chat if you don't mind. 1265.
Hold me down. You said in the helicopter, right?
You guys are awesome, awesome, awesome for coming and stopping by. Please do not forget, okay, guys? Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Give me a thumbs up, guys. I should have at least 90 likes. I mean, come on, y'all. All right. Show the sister some love, whether you like me or not. Just show me some love. That's all I ask. So, a lot is going on with Mr. Smelly. He is not going to make it.
Move.
This man is not going to make it, guys. I don't see how. I don't see how in any way.
Yeah.
In any way.
Y'all over here yelling.
Thank you, guys. And listen, if you want to donate to me, you can donate to me. Just make sure, you guys, when you donate, put inside the text for you. Okay, so I know that it's for me, so I don't get the accounts mixed up because I got money separated. You know what I mean? So I know how much is here and I know how much is there. So, all right. And if you guys are going to donate for the transcript fund, that is also appreciated. Please make sure that when you do, you put in the text for transcript. And guys, you can always hit me on the super chat as well. You can also hit me on PayPal, and you can also hit me on Zelle. And my Zelle information is 347-664-9253. And my PayPal is PayPal.me at Diva Divine Light. And the Diva Divine Light is spelled exactly how my Cash App is. And my Cash App is $ Diva Divine Light. So it's a capital D, and a capital L. And all the letters in between are lowercase. All right. Oh, wow. We're getting another alert. It's just flooding around in my area because I'm surrounded by water over here. And yeah, it's a lot of flooding over here. Always a lot of flooding over here. So you're so welcome, guys. And thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you guys. Please remember to go see our sister channels and follow us and subscribe. And thank you guys for helping us out with the funds. And like I said, even you guys on the other side, if you want to donate to the fund, please do so. You know, so we can all read it and do whatever. You know, it's like it's gone all over the place. And anyone who donates, please make sure you also email me, okay? And let me know that you donated to someone's Cash App, whether it be Atmos, whether it be Whitney, whether it be Robert, or whether it be me. Email me and let me know that you donated, okay? The people that donate to me, I'll know exactly who it is. And always make sure in your email to put your YouTube name, okay? Thank you, guys. I love yous. Peace.